so blown out, but I am here in Iowa, out at Crow Creek Park. I was originally going to go out to go get a haircut, and the place was packed. So I thought I would sit down in the park and do a little talk with y'all. I wish it wasn't as blown out, but what are you going to do, right? So let's talk for a second. Let's talk Israel. Let's talk about what's going down there. Let's talk about the rhetoric. Let's talk about an apartheid state. Let's talk about, a state that took apartheid to a new level with their own citizens, with medical martial law tyranny and segregation that way. And all of it, in my opinion, coming to a head. And you're seeing more and more divisive chatter and divisive talk via what? The web. And a lot of them are just bullshit talking points. And what do I mean by bullshit talking points? If you put up a banner that says, "I stand with Israel," what? Do you now? For everything? On anything? I can't imagine me as an American saying, "I stand for everything America does, and I stand for the invasion of Iraq, and I stand for Dick Cheney's policies, and I stand for a zombie president that tells me that I can either take a boop boop or wear a mask until then, which is forever, because it ain't happening, Captain." And of course I wouldn't. But, whereas you have this uber false patriotism in the United States, right? On many levels, whether it be the war on terror and now virtual signaling for the Biden administration to wear a mask and take your boop and then take your second boop and then take whatever else they want and bend over 6 times and have an anal swab and all that good stuff, right? No. So here they wrap it in a flag, but in Israel it's more than just a flag, isn't it? It's a race. It's a religion. Okay? And when we talk about apartheid, I want to remind people that Jimmy Carter wrote a book and did a film called Peace, Not Apartheid on Israel over a decade ago, showing how insane the segregation is. Okay? Racism is racism. Okay? When you oppress somebody and you oppress a group of people because of their religious beliefs, okay, what is that? What is that? Seriously, what else do you call it? And I gotta say, some of the other things in my feed are very hard to get out of my head after seeing them. I don't like seeing kids blown apart by the IDF. And then in the same breath, as I'm scrolling through and I look up at the mainstream news, it's these fucking political hacks. "We stand with Israel. They're our greatest ally." So what? Our greatest ally in what? What are you talking about? Isn't Saudi Arabia one of our great allies? But the mainstream media can sit there and talk about Khashoggi all day, right? Now they won't do anything about it. Like, there's no teeth. And I'm not saying that they should retaliate against Saudi Arabia for Khashoggi, because it was very apparent that that guy had intel connections all over. That's how the world works, right? But what I am saying to you is that even the fraud squad, who I can't stand the fraud squad, Omar, AOC, Rashid Tlaib, they all spoke out against what's happening in Israel right now. Okay, definitely not enough. Again, they're all pro-boop, right? They're all pro-vax pass and that type of segregation. But then they'll come to the Palestinians' aid, supposedly. But where's it going to go? Okay? Because let's talk about it. WikiLeaks, years ago, published the cables where they said that they would just basically say that any village they want to would be enemy occupation. Would be where the Hamas is or the terrorists are. Civilian occupation. And if you go to my Twitter feed, I've got a former IDF soldier talking about how it is policy how it is policy when the IDF interacts with people, women, children. Let's punch and kick them. Let's punch and kick them. That's policy. That's policy. Yeah, I'm sorry about the wind sound. I live in Iowa. There's a lot of wind out here. Okay? So you have all this going on. You have a nation state that cannot be questioned that had their grubby little mitts all over 9/11 in an international intelligence operation. Sure, you had Saudi funding, right? You had the Saudi funding. Then you had the Pakistani ISI funding directly to Atta. Sure, you had the hijackers living with and renting from FBI informants. But let's not forget about the Israelis that were caught dancing, celebrating, that we barely got photocopies of pictures of them celebrating and holding lighters a decade and a half later. We're about to be on the 20th anniversary of 9/11. I think those pictures came out 2.5 years ago. No mainstream media coverage whatsoever. No questions. No putting the dots together on the previously declassified documents that could clearly show you who each one of these operatives were. Now, in Fabled Enemies, I had some of these operatives that are clearly the ones in the pictures talking about how they were there to document the event. Really? Well, you were there to document the event. Oh, that's very lovely of you. You know, so all this bullshit chatter that Israel is our greatest ally, for a normal person, fuck no. And it kills me because, you know, I went to a state university in New York. Now, many of the students there, and many of my fraternity brothers, many of my friends whom I love, are either fully Jewish or part Jewish, period. All right? And quite frankly, the majority of them literally just have talking points that the mainstream media tells them. Okay? And they're the ones that'll put up, I stand with Israel. And they're the same ones that'll be like, you know, have the Osama bin Laden target thing when it was the war on terror. And they feel that anybody who questions anything Israel does, anti-Semitic. You can't look at it like a nation state. You can't look at it like oppression. You can't look at it like apartheid. You can't look at it like authoritarianism and militarism. No, they think you're a bigot. And they think you're a bigot. And that's insanity. And then on the flip side of that, you do have these extremely mentally ill people that think that the power structure in Israel is behind absolutely everything. And then anybody that knows someone who's Jewish or has partial Jewish bloodlines or, you know, any of those things, they're part of the conspiracy, right? They're completely discredited. And those people are bigots and they are losers. And they're not making real connections. And it's frustrating. But on the other end of the spectrum, people I personally know that are cheering this on or have no idea what's really happening on that border. They don't even really know how Israel came into existence, okay? Right? They don't get it. You know, they just do not get that you had these ultra-Zionists that wanted this after World War II and were promised it and didn't get it, and they were going to do anything they could to get it after World War II, and they did. And they did. You know, they don't want to talk about, Hitler's agreements. They don't want to talk about the transfer agreement. None of that stuff. No. And they certainly don't want you to draw a parallel to what Hitler did, okay? And the irony is over the top to me. What Hitler did to his people, putting a Star of David on them, segregating them that way, and what's going on with their little green passport. Okay? I mean, the irony is unbelievable, especially when you go to IBM, that are the ones that use their first tabulation machines to make the Holocaust possible, to crunch the numbers, right? And now IBM are the ones behind this digital passport. What is going on, people? When will people wake up with some common sense and understand that you don't pledge your allegiance to a nation state? You don't pledge your allegiance blindly to a flag and those that control it. You pledge your allegiance, okay, to goodness, to truth, okay, to fighting for that, to family, to humanity surviving and thriving in the madness we are currently going on in. And also holding those bastards accountable that would do this shit. You know, it's sick. And I would encourage people to go check out, I know Abby Martin recently put it up for free. It's been out over a year now, Gaza Fight for Freedom. She's done great work over the years. Recently, I've seen her appear on Jimmy Dore to talk about the situation in Palestine, in Israel. But man, you know, it's tough, man. I lost some sleep last night. I wasn't sleeping well anyway. Everybody knows this. But again, when I'm scrolling through and I see a baby's face just gone and someone holding it, when someone's posting videos of a medic who's got to go say goodbye to his daughters and his granddaughters who've just been blown up, I that's hard. That's hard. I'm not cheering that on for anybody at all. It's gross. Oh, I think that's going to wrap it up for this little chat here. I want to encourage all you guys to get outside, get out in nature, do your thing. This is the spot where we had our People for Picnics barbecue. I would encourage you, as a person who likes picnics and people, to do the same thing. Thumbs this video up, subscribe and share. Remember to make that free Rockfin account. If you go check out the Pasta Jardula interview from yesterday, it's 90 plus minutes long. 90 plus minutes long over at the Rockfin. And, you know, I had an honest discussion outside of just the election stuff that we covered on YouTube about Fauci, about transhumanism, about who really runs the show, and how none of these plans that we're seeing to come to fruition are coming from Zombie Joe or his administration or any of that bullshit. Okay? So, guys, I love you. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share, and I will see you all on the flip side.